877-747-3733. You always pay less with your Pricito at Doral Hyundai. Visit us, Doral Hyundai or DoralHyundai.com. One playoff game tonight, 8:15, featuring the Steelers and the Texans. The Miami Hurricanes basketball team, they're 3-0 in the ACC following a victory over Georgia Tech, 91-81. They face Notre Dame tomorrow at 7. The Heat have now lost 3 in a row following a 124-112 loss to the Thunder. They host the Suns tomorrow at 7:30. The Panthers, they're at the Buffalo Sabres tonight at 7. And the Dolphins linebacker Jordan Brooks has been named to the AP First Team All-Pro. He will also likely make the Pro Bowl as an alternate. I am Dan Day. Now it's time for the Joe Rose Show here on 104.3 FM WQAM.
And a very good morning. Welcome in here on WQAM. Hope everyone had a tremendous weekend. And boy, the NFL had a tremendous weekend. We'll get to all those games in a moment here. As I want to welcome our crew here today. I am Hollywood. We got Omar Kelly with us here from the Miami Herald. We got Alex Dono from the Locked On Canes podcast. And of course, our Miami Hurricanes football broadcast here on WQAM. Dan Day is with us as well. Gentlemen, Omar, good morning, my friend. How are you?
I appreciate you not calling us the B team.
That will come later. We're going to get off to a bad start first, and then we'll call us the B team.
It warmed my heart.
Dono, how you doing, man?
Doing great. This is a huge week. We're exactly a week away from the national championship game, and there's plenty of other stuff going on in South Florida sports, so I'm happy to be here.
Has it even set in yet? Like I'm making all these plans, getting ready for this week, and it like almost hasn't set in yet that the Hurricanes are going to be playing in this game, because I had planned, they're having all that stuff there down, on the beach, the convention center, and all this other nice stuff they're going to be having over the weekend, and it just like hasn't even settled in yet, and we're playing in this game.
Yeah, you planned to participate in none of it before you actually knew the Hurricanes were deserving and worthy of you celebrating them for an entire week.
Well, it's been an amazing run ever since the SMU game. When that game ended, I did not think this was in the cards. And here we are. And you know what? It's crazy because you the two best teams that are playing the best football right now, that have been playing the best football for months, are going to meet in this game a week from today.
Let's be real about it. There's one team that's been playing the best football really well for a month. The other team just got their act together.
No, yeah, okay, but I'll say this though: when it comes to the path that Miami has had to take to get to this game, they had to go on the road to Texas A&M. They were supposed to lose that game. Then they had to take on the defending national champs. They were underdogs by 9.5 points in that game. They won. They had to take on Ole Miss, who had just beaten Georgia, was the last team standing in the SEC. Miami, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying Miami's better than Indiana, but Miami's had a tougher road. They've had a gauntlet to this point.
I'm glad we got that out of the way early, because I figured Omar was going to have something to say about the Hurricanes, the way that they've been playing the last month. Omar, they've been dominant. They've been absolutely dominant, and they, Dono's right. They played as tough a schedule through this playoff as you could possibly play, and here they are, man. But I don't think anyone's playing better football than Miami's played over the last, month, 2 months.
You know what dominant looks like? What the picture of dominance is? They would have a picture of Signetti and Mendoza, and it would be right next to her in the dictionary with an Indiana jersey on, red and white. That would be the picture of what dominance looks like. Yeah, what the Canes look like is fortunate that they are maximizing their opportunities and turning things around.
So, Omar, are you going to come off that Mendoza might be a special player? Because at first you were sitting there saying, "Oh, he's okay, he's decent." I kept telling you he's pretty darn good.
He is. I said he was going to be the number one quarterback.
I didn't say it. No, but I'm coming back.
No.
Answer the question.
Is he special? Yeah.
Hey, you're dealing with someone who about 2 months ago thought Tua was elite. Okay, so you got to take
how the mighty have fallen.
And Tua was elite 2 months ago. And then,
sure he was.
Then he lost his arm.
Funny. I woke up to there's this guy who bothers me on Twitter, and all this Tua stuff. Always a big Tua guy.
You woke up to a guy who bothers you on Twitter.
I got I'm sure you got a few of those, Omar. And I just funny because he was talking about Justin Herbert last night, and I know Herbert didn't have a particularly good game, but he goes, you wish the Dolphins had Herbert, right? You clown. Like, yeah, you know what? Yes, after last night, yes, I still do wish the Dolphins had Herbert. It would have been nice to have been playing in that game last night as opposed to watching the Chargers. But that game actually happened to be the clunker of the weekend. The games that we saw were so good, and we get another pretty good one, I think, tonight on Monday Night Football with the Texans and the Steelers. But man, oh man, those games over the weekend, they delivered in a big way. I'm guessing the NFL put up some big TV numbers on that wild card weekend.
Wait till
whenever people are asking, like, how come college football does these playoff games on Wednesday and Thursday nights and then Monday night or Thursday, Friday night, and then the answer always is because the NFL is not going to give them that real estate on the weekends this time of year. Like, so, and the college is putting up big numbers, but they're putting up big numbers because they've been doing these games on Thursdays and Fridays and then a Monday.
Well, I'm just curious which for you guys, which games kind of stood out. I just thought they were starting with Saturday, and how about the fight that the Carolina Panthers put up against the Rams, where the Panthers pushed those guys to the limit. So that was your opening game. You had the 49ers and Eagles. An upset there, certainly, with the 49ers advancing and making some plays late in that game. The Bills and Jaguars was an epic game, and Josh Allen, by the way, we talk about putting a team on your back. I don't know how much more Josh Allen can do physically, but he got knocked around in that game pretty good, and they're asking him to do a lot right now, I think you would say, if you're watching the Bills.
That's the kind of stakes and expectation you have when you have a franchise quarterback, which is a lesson that I've learned. What these franchise quarterbacks that actually advance to the playoffs, they look like. They run and they scramble and they gain first downs. They make tough, critical third down and fourth down throws. They perform well in the fourth quarter. Like, who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, the ones that stood out to me, a couple of the games yesterday, was watching the 49ers, Eagles with my son, and then, of course, Bills, Jaguars, because, guys, this is like another one of these career-defining postseasons for Josh Allen, right, who's come so close so many times, but it's usually been Patrick Mahomes standing in his way. He's not in the postseason this year, so you have to wonder if this is the year that Josh Allen and the Bills are going to get over the hump. And like you said, Hollywood, this is a guy who is doing a lot individually and putting his body on the line every single game. Not saying I'm rooting for them, because as a Dolphin fan, I certainly am not. But I am curious to see if this is the year the Bills get it done with Josh.
Yeah, it's funny. I was having this talk with a bunch of my Dolphin fan buddies, and yes, you do have to hate the Bills as a Dolphin fan, but man, it is tough to not like Josh Allen, right? The way that guy's playing right now, it's tough not to kind of find yourself rooting for that guy. And that was an impressive individual effort that he put forth in that game. And we'll talk more about these games as we go. But I'll tell you, that Bears-Packers game might have been my favorite out of all of them. And Caleb Williams, man, that guy, he made some amazing plays in that game, but the Packers dropped that one. Bears come from behind and win the home game there. They get another home game coming up. And, guys, I don't know who the best teams on each side are of this thing. I have no idea. If you ask me to pick the Super Bowl today, I just don't know. This thing seems very evenly matched, but I do agree with Dono, and kind of been saying this for a little bit here too with the Bills. Like, this is it for Josh Allen. If you're going to make your run, you got no Lamar in your way, no Mahomes in your way. Like, this is the time to try and make that run if you're the Bills. And, how long could a window stay open for a guy who plays as recklessly as Josh Allen plays?
Stayed open so far.
Yeah.
What are we in, year 8 of his career?
Yeah.
Still same style. Still not beat up and battered. Keep riding it till the wheels falls off.
Well, he is now. He is battered and beaten. Now I think
I mean, I don't think you have any proof of these battered and beaten effects.
He was banged up in that game. Come on.
I don't think you have any proof of this because I've seen it happen before, and then he bounces back like he's a robot.
So those were your games from over the weekend. You do have again another one coming up tonight. Texans and Steelers, an 8:15 kick here on Monday Night Football, and we'll see if Aaron Rodgers can lead the Steelers to a playoff win. I think DK Metcalf makes his return right after fighting a fan.
I loved where he put out the police. He put out the "I'm out of jail" meme. And like basically, I'm home now. Yeah, I'm out to finish my bid.
Very nice, very nice.
That you caused.
I want to let everyone know you can reach us here. We have our chat going on YouTube, so we have that going. You can also text the show 305-567-0560. We are 7 days now away from the Miami Hurricanes playing for the national championship. Still feels a little bit surreal to keep saying that, but Dono, that's where we will be 1 week from today. We will be making our way towards a Hard Rock Stadium that from everything, it sounds like it's going to be very difficult to make it over to with parking shortage, but we will.
Oh my
God! Be there on Monday.
Yeah, and we're trying to figure that out, and we're going to be going with press passes, you and me. But I see the ticket prices. It's like $3,200 plus just to get in the nosebleed. Like this feels like a Super Bowl, right? I mean, I've been to. It's been a long time. I've been to national championship games before. I think the last one I went to was like 20 years ago in that stadium, USC against Oklahoma, and I just wanted to go to the game. I got a ticket for like $120. Like, times have changed, my friend. It's not the same.
Yeah, this is the most expensive national championship ticket I think there's been. I even saw Mark Cuban was complaining on Twitter yesterday about
as if he can't afford a ticket.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
No, it's this is nutty here. I imagine the ticket prices will come down at some point, right? Like they probably will. But I don't know that they're going to be cheap for this game. I know that Canes fans are having their access to tickets. If you're a Cane club or season tickets, I think there's like a way still you can get access to those tickets, but they're still expensive. Even at the face value, the tickets are still pricey, but that comes with it. There's a lot of events going on though in Miami this weekend that if you're not going to the game, you can certainly take part of. So we're going down over the weekend to the beach, and they'll have a lot of fun stuff over there.
You're going to see Calvin Harris?
You know it, Dan. I am going to see, and John Summit, by the way, will be there, Dan. Don't sell him short too. Yes, I will be going to the beach to see the concerts and the fan fest that they have at the convention center. All good events this weekend.
Dono, I don't know if you have access to this information, but considering you are my expert of all things Hurricanes, like the season tickets that the Hurricanes are actually offering to the fans face value, like what's the cutoff point? Like how many years of a season ticket holder have you had to have been?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think there's definitely tiers to that because like when you're in something called the Hurricane Club, like the only people I'll have to ask other friends of mine who are season ticket holders, but the people that I've heard from who were able to get those face value tickets were all members of the Hurricane Club, which is like it's like a donation group. So I'm not obviously first dibs for them. I can't imagine that
basically
too many second dibs.
If you drop a couple $1,000 to the university, you will have access to this national championship game in our backyard.
At face value versus
at face value. Yes.
Omar's looking for tickets, Donna. That's all he's doing. But Omar is not a loved member of the Canes community here. So
I'm looking for a good party. Don't tell lies. I don't
Yeah.
want to go to the game. I want to go to a good party. I don't know who's going to be offering it, whether it's going to be Tootsie's or not. Somebody's going to be throwing the epic party. I wonder
as long as you follow like Luther Campbell.
That's what
Twitter,
I'm saying.
I'm sure he's gonna. At some point, Uncle Luke is going to be tweeting out posters to the party he's hosting, and then that's where Omar's going to be.
Absolutely, no question about it.
One place Omar is going to be is following this Dolphins coaching search and GM. They've hired a GM, so we got a lot of Dolphins news. We do have a lot of news to get to with the Dolphins. Chris Perkins is going to join us in the 8:00 hour, so we'll get to a lot of that Dolphins news with him. But Donna was here with us for the first few hours of the show. So when we come back, Donna, I want to jump into this game here and really start to get into this thing because I just think people are very excited for this football game coming up. And Miami, they're big underdogs. They are big underdogs, and I told you I liked it when they were big underdogs against Ohio State. I like that they're big underdogs in this game. I think it serves them well. I do think that this is the toughest team that they have played. I think it's the most talented quarterback that they have played in Mendoza, and there are some tremendous storylines around this game. But the Hurricanes and in Indiana Hoosiers, sounds a little strange here, will meet in the National Championship of Football at Hard Rock Stadium on a week from today. So we have that coming up for you. So Dono, we will jump into this one. I got a few questions for you as we start to break this one down. So plenty more to come here. I hope everyone had a great football weekend. We'll continue on this Monday here on WQAM.
Hey, I want to talk to you about Recovery Unplugged.
couple of accidents affecting your commute this morning.
And welcome back in here on WQAM on this beautiful Monday morning here in South Florida. I'm Hollywood. Omar Kelly is with us. Alex Dono and Dan Day with us as well, as we are 7 days away from a very big football game happening right here in our backyard. And Dono, as welcome you back in here this morning, my friend. I got to get your take on this last Miami win, because I think that's still relevant right now, Dono, as we get set for this next game. But that game was feels like it was a while ago, but it was just last week, as Miami earning a spot in this national title game. And the story around this team, I mean, there's so many that we could spend all day talking individually about a lot of these stories, but the Carson Beck story really jumps out at you from what he was able to accomplish in that last game. And, you know, Dono, they put the ball in his hands late in that game. And I got to tell you, I give the Hurricanes, you know, a lot of a credit. And, you know, the nice thing about this too is now we can actually, you know, had a little time to digest the game over the weekend. We came in on Friday and it was like, you know, just so crazy that happened. But now that you have a little time to really think about it, and the way that they put the ball in Carson Beck's hands late in that game, and clearly Miami, you know, could have settled, you know, and played them, you know, more conservative on that final drive. They let him throw the ball. They let him throw it over the middle of the field. And they said, you know what, go win us this football game. And Carson Beck, man, for all the crap that he's taken, all the stuff he's been through, and boy, he went out there and he took it, Dono.
Wanted was to go sorry, I think I was muted there for a second. The last thing that I wanted was to go back to overtime at a Fiesta Bowl. So I was so glad they allowed Carson Beck to go for the win and not go for the tie in that situation. And to me, like that drive was, and you know, I don't know how much that did for his draft stock or whatever. Obviously, it can't hurt, but like for his college career, that was a career defining type of drive for Carson Beck, because I can't tell you, to your point, Hollywood, I mean, when people were asking me about that game and all these playoff games, you know, people from outside the Miami bubble, you know, people who cover the SEC were always like, do you trust Carson Beck? Like, if it comes down to a game-winning drive, is that guy going to win it for you? Do you trust Mario Cristobal not to screw it up? And, you know, you have that opportunity to win the game. You go 75 yards in 15 plays, because obviously it was important to take as much time off the clock as possible. You ended up leaving 18 seconds, which wasn't a whole lot for Ole Miss, and they still had an opportunity at the end. So if you left anything more than those 18 seconds, it could have been a little bit dicey for you down the stretch. 15 plays, 75 yards, had to convert 4 third downs during that drive, and then ultimately Beck scores the game-winning touchdown with his legs, which I don't think is what anybody had on their bingo card. So I think that drive to me was a culmination of how comfortable Carson has become throughout the season in Shannon Dawson's offense. And to me, I think it also, you know, really shows his maturity, and I think in a lot of ways it validates Miami's decision to, kind of controversially go out and get him last year, because a lot of people thought, why really want to pay, 7 figures, 3-4 million for Carson Beck? Is he worth it? I think that drive and that win kind of tells you he was worth every penny.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, sometimes it just fits, right? Sometimes you just get the right fit, and Miami is 2 for 2 right now with those transfer portal quarterbacks. And Cam Ward was on the sideline. I don't know if you saw that photo. There's a photo of Carson running into the end zone, and Cam Ward is in the background. So it was like the passing the torch photo is pretty cool. It really just it's amazing the way that it worked out for Carson, and you feel so good for him, don't you? It's really one of those stories where it's like everyone is rooting against you except for the people that are in your town, and it almost has that like Big Three Heat feeling. It's like the world is rooting against you, but you got and look, I imagine it'll be the same deal in this game, right? Indiana's kind of the likable underdog school. Miami is Miami, so I'm guessing that there will be a lot of Indiana love out there, and not much Miami love. But
one is the underdog,
right,
and the other is the team that everybody hates. So
Miami's the underdog in this game, Omar. There's no question.
I realize that, but nobody in the nation is really going to view them as the underdog. They're just going to view them as the team everybody should have pity for, that little Indiana team that they've just tried hard and they've just done things right. This is a throwback to old college football. And here comes the big bad Hurricanes. They just pay for their teams.
Well, I said that going into the game on Friday. With Indiana, I thought, well, I kind of want to see them play, one more dominant game here. Let's see how they do, because I'm just not fully bought in, and I almost feel like I'm still not fully bought in on Indiana.
How many butts do they got to whip for you to not be bought in?
One more. They got to whip one more for him to believe.
One more butt for
yeah, they do that. Yeah, then I'll believe. But I know. Look, it's tough because they are not a football school. They're the Hoosiers. They're a basketball school. So it's like unusual to be so as good as they are, as dominant as they are. But
see them open up a can of whoop ass on everybody. It's unusual. Yeah.
Look, the nice thing about this playoff too is that you had 4 teams in the Final Four that are not regulars in the Final Four, and I think it goes to show you this NIL thing, and they've spread this thing out, and now it's kind of an even playing field for a lot of these different teams, and now Miami, I think, is Dono, and you guys keep seeing you, and I know you cover this recruiting stuff very closely on the Locked On Canes podcast. Miami's doing just all right for themselves right now, and I'm guessing the momentum of this national championship is going to continue to push them forward here. But with that being said, we got to do something about this calendar here, man. Like, Miami should be able to focus on this game and this game alone, and not have to worry about transfer portal guys right now as we get set to play a football game.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that if there's any staff that's built for it, it's Miami's, because Mario Cristobal doesn't sleep, and he doesn't really allow his staff to sleep either. Like, these guys, we got this thing down here called cafecito, the Cuban coladas, which keep everybody awake for about 21, 22 hours a day on this staff. But they've definitely, Hollywood, they've had to be really pragmatic with the way that they've gone about this in terms of the transfer portal. They didn't do a whole lot when it comes to visits and transfer recruiting right before the Ole Miss game, because there were only 7-8 days between the Ohio State game and the Ole Miss game. So Miami kind of purposely, I'm not going to say punted on the first week of the transfer portal, but they didn't go all into it. They only hosted a couple of visits between the Ohio State and the Ole Miss game, and they kind of allowed a lot of other teams to get a head start, because, to your point, they didn't want to sacrifice their preparation in like a normal week, like a 7-8 day span. They've obviously had to do more between these two games, having 11 days. Miami had 7 transfer portal visitors over this weekend, but it's definitely of course, you get a certain amount of momentum for making a deep playoff run, so maybe players are a little bit more willing to wait for you. But at the same time, it did hurt Miami a little bit because, probably their number one quarterback target was Brennan Sorsby from Cincinnati, who just, he didn't want to wait. He very quickly committed to Texas Tech, which is also where his girlfriend goes. That might have been a little help in that situation.
She might have been a planted girlfriend, so.
Yeah, right. Miami has definitely, they've had to handle this a different way because, the last few years, they've been very free at this time of year. They haven't had any, January commitments, but this year it's different.
Yeah, this year is definitely different when it comes to playing late into to January. Again, a lot of this is unexpected here, but I think the thing that bodes very well for them is, Carson Beck's not going to be the first pick in the draft. Obviously, you had that, with your quarterback last year, but you may very well have the first non-quarterback off the board here with Ruben Bain, the way that he's played through the playoff, and all things NFL draft. I kind of go to Omar on this one. So Omar, you got Ruben Bain. I know you've watched him play. I still imagine he will be, if not the first, he will be one of the top non-quarterbacks taken off the board for NFL drafts, and such a premium on that position as well. Still.
Absolutely, and I think he's shown you that he can do every single style of rushing. You can play in every single scheme. The toughness, the motor, the drive, because he's not, I don't think there are dynamic moves. I don't think there's sensational athleticism. But what I do see is a guy who plays with a ferocious heart and is a finisher. And man, he reminds me a lot of Terrell Suggs, just in terms of, it doesn't look pretty, but it gets to the quarterback. And anybody who knew Terrell Suggs in a college game and when he went into the draft, a lot of people didn't believe because he was just this undersized guy. And I think Bain is going to face the same thing, but when you put on that tape, man, that thing screams at you.
Well, he's going to be one of those guys. Mesidor, I imagine, will be one of those guys in there. They have a lot of guys, Dono, that I'm guessing will be possible draft targets. And the funny thing is, man, I would ask you, like, who will be coming back, who will be going to the draft. The problem with this who will be coming back thing is we got open free agency in college football, and I don't know. Can you pay everyone? I don't know how this is going to go here. Not that I want to take away from the game that they're about to play in, but this free agency in college football is wild at this point. And I know all these guys have agents, and they're going to be fielding offers here. And I saw the Alabama quarterback. I don't know if you guys saw this. The Alabama quarterback, Ty Simpson, was going to go. I think he announced officially he was going pro. And now there are colleges that are apparently willing to pay him upwards of $6.5 million to go back to college instead of entering the NFL draft. And it just makes you wonder.
He might want to consider it.
It's not the worst idea, right? I mean, and Omar, I don't know what off the top of my head, what a first round quarterback is making these days.
Not that much.
But if you can, well, he would be where he would go probably, I'm guessing, right around where the Dolphins pick.
I would think mid to late first round. So let me look up the money. But
so do you take the 6.5 and just stay in college and play another 12 college games?
I think it's definitely something that needs to be considered and put on the table, especially if you're going to be a later round guy, like, for instance, Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers' whole deal. Yeah, Quinn Ewers' whole deal in his NFL career is going to be worth $5 million. I know he had at least a $2 million offer from University of North Carolina to continue to play college athletics, and for 1 year he would have made more in college than he would have made in the NFL. And the question is, would he have improved his NFL stock in this draft class of mediocre to questionable quarterbacks?
Maybe not at North Carolina, but if he'd gone somewhere else, maybe he could have.
Hey, man, the teams that need you the most are the teams that are paying. So, yeah. And, I don't. He probably had a good relationship, so he wasn't in the Caviter sweepstakes, so it couldn't benefit him to come to Miami, even though it didn't really benefit Carson Beck because he got down here and he realized there's a whole lot more to South Florida than a Cavallari twin.
Well, I just never thought we'd see the day where we had a college quarterback who was debating money between going in the draft and going, back to college for a year. I didn't think we'd see that day, but here we are.
We need to really encourage them to stay because Dante Moore, that guy needs a lot of work.
He needs to stay. Yeah, he needs to stay another year.
I mean, but he's going to be the second overall pick. He's going to be the second quarterback taken. There are franchises that are thirsty. If somebody's going to look at the talent and say, I can develop that, I can work with that, as you know, they always do. And I watched that guy at the Orange Bowl, and obviously you saw what happened in the national championship game, but I watched him at the Orange Bowl, and I was like, no, this guy's not ready. No, sir, not ready. Like, he stares down receivers. You're not ready for the big leagues, brother.
Well, hopefully the Hurricanes are ready for a big step up in competition for the final time here. Is this Indiana team? Boy, do they look tough. And I want to get Dono some early thoughts on this game here and who you think needs to step up and have a big game for Miami to have a chance to win this one coming up 1 week from today at Hard Rock Stadium. The Miami Hurricanes will play for a national championship. And how about this? We're going to have it for you right here on WQAM. Dono will have your post-game show for you. We're bringing Monroe back for this one. Monroe can't travel anymore. He has nowhere left to travel, so he's going to do countdown to kickoff with me. So we'll have a fresh countdown to kickoff.
You're going to be holding them down.
Yes, sir.
You're going to be like an anchor.
I know.
You know what's funny? Miami receives like a $3 million travel budget for every game, and like they still get it for this one, even though it's in their hometown at their home stadium. So, I mean, they're going to get the nicest charter buses to go from campus to Hard Rock Stadium you've ever seen.
Do you have to spend that money, though?
I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. If you could just pocket it, I think you might have to spend it. They're going to get like a charter jet just to fly in a circle just to come back to Miami.
I like that. They could use land right there on 95 on that little turnpike extension there. And,
Mario's going to use that money
from there.
Mario's going to use that money to fly on a helicopter to go recruit all these transfer portal kids.
Yes, probably.
Well, Mario has not slept. I can promise you that as this recruiting thing continues on here. But we're going to take.
I do have a question for you, Dono. How many of the Canes' actual players on the team are in the transfer portal right now?
There were, I want to say 7 or 8 of them, and it was mostly guys who were, probably not going to play a whole lot, like Nathaniel Ray Joseph at slot receiver. He's already landed somewhere, but like the problem was when he first 2 years here, he was behind Xavier Restrepo, and then Malachi Toney showed up, so like he needed to leave, right? There's a couple other receivers, Nikar, Chance Robinson. Robinson just landed at NC State. I mean, like the one that kind of bothered Miami fans because it seemed like he would have played a lot next year was Dante Simpson, first-year defensive tackle who got a little bit of burn this year and I think would have played a lot more next year. So like we're not really sure why he left and he just landed. Oh man, I can't. Mizzou or so I can't remember.
It's called money, Dono. That's why he left.
No, I'm sure it is, but it's like it's on. And you're right. That's how these things go. But yeah, it's been mostly players who weren't going to be probably big in the plans for next year.
And my thought is like Malachi Toney, man, that guy's got to be getting a raise.
Oh, no, you can lock that in. He's earned himself a raise. I mean, he loves Miami. I don't think he's leaving, but he has earned a raise.
Well, Omar, the market is the market when it comes to a talent like Malachi Toney. All right, we got to take a pause. I want to get Dono's early keys to this national championship game here and see who he thinks needs to have a big game for the Hurricanes. We'll get to that when we come back here on WQAM.
No, it's not hurricane season. I'm not trying to scare you, but
song, and I want y'all to sing along. Sing along. See, this is the way that we're all gonna sound.
Welcome back in here on WQAM on this Monday morning. Man, are these Omar's requests? All of these songs you keep playing, because he's nodding his head over there. He's into this here on this Monday morning. Is he requesting?
Confession: I came from the club at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Look at
Straight to
you.
WQAM.
Yeah, he and I were texting each other last night at 3 a.m, making sure we get the right playlist together.
Last time I saw 3 a.m. was when I was filling in for Dono doing that post-game show on New Year's Eve. That's the last time I've seen, and hopefully the last time I ever see him again. That was a wild night. Dono, I got to tell you something. I'm doing the post-game show for that game, and of course it was a very happy post-game show. But I'm at that point. I'm just running on fumes. I got guys outside my house. They're setting off fireworks to celebrate the New Year, and yeah, it was just that was a crazy night. But if you're just joining us, by the way, Omar Kelly, Alex Dono with us here, Dan Day driving the program. Jamie is with us as well. I'm Hollywood, and we'll take you up until 10 o'clock here this morning. A lot of stuff we're going to get to. Chris Perkins will join us in the 8 o'clock hour for all of our Dolphins fans. The Dolphins have made some news here over the weekend. I'm almost in I don't care what the Dolphins are doing mode.
Is it because the Hurricanes are having so much success, or is it because of all the hurt they've caused you over the years?
Both.
Yes. Thank you. Well said, my friend. Well said, Mr. Dono. It is a little bit of both. Look, it's so I don't want to say it's tough to care, because obviously we care, but it's tough to put that in the front of everything that's happening right now, because you got the Canes about to play in the championship.
Yeah.
You got NFL football games all weekend that were tremendous. I mean, the NFL could not have had a better weekend of wildcard games, right? Those games, all of them coming down to the wire.
The ratings for those games are going to show college athletics. Yes, you might pay millions for these players, but you're still our little brother. Here, come get a noogie. Come get a noogie. Come get a noogie.
I don't know, man.
The college ratings have been big this year, though. I mean, they're both carrying their own.
You think? I don't know. I don't know about that. Listen. That Indiana butt whooping, and they put on a couple of butt whoopings. I don't know if any of that will touch what's happening tonight. Pittsburgh, Houston, it's not coming close. It's not even coming close.
So we do have a lot of stuff we're going to get to. I got to ask you here, by the way. Was it your birthday here? This K Space 91 saying was it your birthday over the weekend?
No, this past week. It was Tuesday, January 6th. So I've had a little time to recover / continue to party. So
he's not a woman. He doesn't celebrate his birthday for an entire week or for a whole month.
Jeez, Omar. Dan says he hasn't wrote back on there. I like that.
What man do you know celebrates a birthday for the entire week or the entire month?
I mean, I celebrate for a whole year, so I celebrate every day of my life as a birthday celebration. So I don't know what you're talking about.
That's true, Dan Day.
That is true, Dan. That is Dan Day's life.
I had a birthday party.
You had a birthday week?
I didn't have a birthday week, but I did have a party this year. My wife threw me a surprise party this year. It was my 40th.
And I got no invite?
You did not get invited.
Neither did I.
Neither did Dono. Now I don't know how.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I thought
it was a great time. You guys missed out. It was a great time. I appreciate your wife inviting me.
I thought we had passed the threshold of friendship.
Omar, if I was doing the list, you would have gotten the nod. I didn't come up with the list. I will tell you. So my buddy flew in from out of town, guy I went to school with, and so him and my son, they took me out for the day, and so we basically had to take my son to all the places that he likes. So we went to Dave and Buster's, we went to K1 Speed.
Don't front, you like them too. I do like Dave and Buster's as an excuse.
Dave and Buster's, I take my kid to Dave and Buster's, and I have as much fun as he does when we go out there.
Well, the thing I like
wait a minute, Dave and Buster's is my date spot.
Really? Yeah, I mean, look, you sit watch the games there. I give the kid the cards and just go wild. But so I come back home and there's a bunch of cars. So it's a surprise party. I walk into my living room and the first person I see is Joe. just standing there in his he's got his slacks and his tucked in Dolphin shirt, and he's standing in my living room. So
it's past his bedtime. Of course, he wants you to know. He wants you to greet him so he can go home and go sleep.
no, he actually had a Dolphin event that night. So I was his first stop. I was actually his first stop. So, but no, I had a little party here. So I actually celebrated my birthday. I don't usually do that, but yes, I did this year. And happy birthday to you as well, Dan. Dan Day,
Yeah, Dan.
Celebrating a birthday in this month. So we're gonna give Dan the benefit of the month of his
celebrate birthday.
here.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll give it to him.
You let your wife know that we now.
We'll allow it. Omar, if you want to take me out for my birthday, it was in mid-December, but I will still take you up on that. All right. I know you're a man of the night now, though. I don't know this whole 3 a.m. thing. I don't know, man.
Was a good night too. Was a very good night.
I'm sure you had a lovely night. All right, we're going to take a pause. We had a big weekend in the NFL. The Dolphins are making news, so Omar is with us. We'll get to that, but we got Dono with us here for another hour today, so I want to get to a lot of this Kane stuff with Dono. He is going to join us throughout the week. We're going to have a lot of stuff as we prepare for this game during the week. We'll have a lot of Hurricanes guests, and we'll make our way eventually. Dono, we're going to make our way down towards Miami. And we'll have some more stuff to come from there as we get set for a Monday night football game 1 week from tonight. The Hurricanes will take on the Indiana Hoosiers in the national championship game at Hard Rock Stadium. Still doesn't feel real. The 7 o'clock hour is coming up next on QAM.
McDonald's, man, I am loving it now on the
Stefanski, Clint Kubiak, Robert Saleh, Rams defensive coordinator Chris Shula, and Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. The Heat, they lost 3 in a row. They fell 124-112 to the Thunder last night. They got the Suns tomorrow at 7:30, and the Panthers, they're at the Buffalo Sabres tonight at 7. I am Dan Day. Now back to the Joe Rose Show here on 104.3 FM WQAM.
I like pleasures like with pain and music is my aeroplane. It's my
Here on WQAM on this Monday morning. Hope everyone's having a great start to their week here. I am Hollywood. Omar Kelly is with us. Alex Dono is with us for another hour here this morning. Dan Day and Jamie driving the program here. And gentlemen, as I say, good morning to you both. There is a lot going on right now, a lot of stuff that we are going to get to here today. The Dolphins, of course, Omar, as we know, have a GM. The head coaching search moves on here for Miami. Chris Perkins will join us at 8 o'clock, and the two of you can debate who the new Dolphins head coach should be. Dono, I got to tell you, I am in this and I don't want to say I don't care mode, but we're 1 week away from the biggest football game that any football team in this town has played in a quarter century. And I'm locked in on this thing, man. 1 week from today, the Hurricanes will play for a national championship. It's still, to be honest, Dono, I don't know where you're at on this one. It still kind of feels a little strange. Like, it just doesn't necessarily feel real, right? Like, that Miami's in this position and, 20 years of tough, and mediocrity and stuff can do that to you, right? But
call it tough love from the team. Call it tough love. It hardened you, prepared you for this.
Does.
There are so many loyal Canes fans that I'm so happy for here today that, in this week, and that get to experience this game. The people that have held the season tickets through the bad years and the lean years. And, like Mondo texted us this morning, you got a guy like that, hey, gets to get his tickets and gets to go to this game. And,
if you've had season tickets for 20 years through this,
you deserve
you deserve this.
You deserve this game. But there's a lot of those people out there, man. There are a lot of people that stuck with the program and did not go away. And someone on the chat here says the others are bandwagoners. Hey, man, look, I get it that people like a winner. And I never fault people for jumping on a winning team. And, if you don't want to spend your money when the product's not good, I also understand that. But that being said, college football is different than the pro game. And there's a lot of people that stuck with the program, Dono, and they're getting what they deserve here with this game in our backyard.
Yeah, and if you told me, told anybody after the SMU loss that, hey, in a couple months Miami would be playing in the national championship game, you would have had a tough time believing that. I mean, even heading into the year, and I heard Miami president Joe Echeverria talk after the victory against Ole Miss. They were saying that they had a 5-year plan to get here, and they got there in 4, which is pretty remarkable. The team that Mario Cristobal has built, and of course all the administrative support that has allowed them to build this team through the NIL infrastructure and all the recruiting efforts that have gone into this. And so now you get to a point where, even though Hollywood, with very few people expecting Miami to be here, it'd be easy to say it from afar, oh, they're playing with house money. But no, we all want to win this game. And we believe Miami has a chance, despite the fact that they're 7.5-point underdogs in this one. And a couple of things. Yeah, and a couple things that stand out about Indiana. I mean, obviously people have been watching them this year, but the average age of their team is 23. They're almost as old as the Green Bay Packers. This is telling you, this is a very, very old, mature football team, and they don't beat themselves, Omar. I mean, Indiana leads the nation in turnover margin at a +21. They've only given the football away 8 times this year. And of course, you all saw it in the Oregon game when they get a pick 6 on the very first play. They've actually done pretty much that 5 times this season. In 5 different games, Indiana has intercepted a pass in the opening drive. So, It's gotten to a point where people are like accusing them of hacking the cloud servers and stealing signals and stuff. That's how good
Listen,
they are, that people assume they must be cheating. Is how good they are.
You know what they remind you of, Dono? They remind you of the old school Canes, where they used to just beat up on everybody and people just felt it wasn't fair.
You talking about Indiana?
Yeah.
Well, the thing though, guys, is I think physically. Yeah, physically, I think Miami is going to try to lean on them and beat them down, because the stat that I love in Miami's favor, okay? Miami's offensive line is an average of 331 pounds. Indiana's defensive line averages 278 pounds. So you're talking about over a 50-pound difference on average man-to-man. Miami's going to try to lean on them and get the running game going. Now, Indiana's been very good against the run, but, the way Miami has committed to that in the playoffs and the success that Mark Fletcher and Marty Brown have been having, despite how statistically good the Hoosiers have been against the run, you've got to prove to me you can stop Fletcher and Brown with the way Miami's offensive line has been making those holes for the running game. And again, the most important thing, guys, Miami can't beat themselves. Like, you have to play better than you played against Ole Miss. You can't have 10 penalties. You can't lose the turnover margin again. But Miami is capable of playing better football. They played like a C- game against Ole Miss, and they still managed to win. They played more like, an A- game against Ohio State, and they won that. You need to have an A type of game against Indiana, because I don't think the Hoosiers are going to beat themselves.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that one, Dono. But I almost go back to the Ohio State game. I think that Miami was probably the best team that Ohio State played all season long. And I think that Miami might be the best team that Indiana has played all season long, right? And I think that they are going to get a defense in Miami that is going to put some significant pressure on them. It's going to, you see what the Hurricanes defense has done, especially through this playoff. So I think that this is the best team that Indiana's played all season. So, look, I'm glad Miami, they want to go into this game, touchdown underdogs the same way they did in the Ohio State game, then fantastic. I think, Miami will really embrace that underdog role. I didn't love them being favorites, to be quite honest, in that Ole Miss game. And that game, by the way, that thing went about how we thought it was going to go, right? It went back and forth, and it was a higher scoring game. And we figured, and we talked about it a lot in the pregame, Miami's going to have to find a way to score some points. Carson Beck is going to have to move the ball down the field, and they're going to have to put up some points, and they did, right? And they put the ball in Carson Beck's hands in that game, and he made all the throws that they needed him to make. And I imagine that the next game will be the same, right? I think that Miami's clearly going to have to put up some points, and you just go by what you just saw, right? They put up, what was it, 56? They put up against the Ducks. Ole Miss had put up 40 points against Georgia, the game before the Miami game. So I do think as good as the Hurricanes defense has been, this is not going to be the kind of game where you could score 10 or 13 points and get out of there with a win. You're probably going to have to see the end zone at least 3 times in this game. But you know what? We found out that Miami is capable of playing that type of game as well. So I'm really, I like this matchup for the Hurricanes. I think they have an excellent shot in this game, and I do think that size difference, Donna, that you mentioned, is a big factor in this one.
Well, I would say both Miami and Indiana have proven throughout the year they can win in multiple different ways. Like that, these are the best 2 teams in the country, the last 2 teams standing, and I think both of them have shown adaptability. And then another thing that I'm looking at with Indiana, Miami only got one sack against Ole Miss. Part of it is just how quickly Trinidad Chambliss gets rid of the football. Mm-hmm. Another part was I think Miami's defensive line was more playing gap assignment football rather than going all out to try to produce sacks. I wonder if you can get a multi-sack game again in a game like this, because Fernando Mendoza holds the football for an average of 3.03 seconds, which is like, if you hold the football that long against Miami, you're going to be giving up multiple sacks. So the question is, how does Indiana's offense adapt to that? Because the offenses that have had more success against Miami are when quarterbacks get rid of the football in under 2.5 seconds, because Miami actually leads the nation in sacks in 2.5 seconds or less of time quarterbacks hold on to the football. So again, if Mendoza is playing to his average of a little over 3 seconds, he's going to get sacked a lot because, again, like you're not straight up blocking Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor. So the way Indiana deals with that and adapts to that is going to be a huge question because I think Miami's pass rush can get going again.
Yeah, I mean, look, Miami's not Oregon. Like they are going to give Indiana a much better game than the Ducks did. And, I just think you're right, Don. I think pressure on Mendoza is going to be a huge factor in this game because if they don't get any pressure on him, I think you saw what happens. I mean, this guy, he makes the NFL throws. I mean, he puts the ball on the money. He's going to be the
shoulder throws, man. He's so good with those.
Those back shoulder, you're right. Those were there's and look, Miami's got they got a full week here, and then some, right? You got about 10 days or so, 9 days to prepare for this game and really game plan this thing and come up with the best possible plan. And I feel comfortable with Corey Heatherman making the coming up with the game plan here because this guy has been. You talk about great hires. There's not been a better hire in college football than Corey Heatherman has been for the Miami Hurricanes and the defensive game plans that this team has put together. And then you give Shannon Dawson a lot of credit, right? They had to lean on the offense in that Ole Miss game, and they came through for him in a big way. So I like this matchup, Dono. I don't think that this is, Miami going up against some big bad giant here in Indiana. I think they got
Indiana.
I think they got a good shot to beat these guys. I really do. And you want to put them as 7.5 point underdogs, that's just fine. But I think Miami's got a really good shot in this game.
Let me ask you guys this about Carson Beck, who I vowed not to criticize anymore. Just I'm done. It's over.
I'm sure he appreciates that, Omar. Thank you.
Okay. How much do you think the Lane Kiffin to comments about him and getting $4.3 million to the pivot? How much do you think that played back in his mind where Lane Kiffin was like, did they see him play us like before they gave him the money?
I think that's been playing through his mind all year. I mean, I think he's you can't ignore this stuff. I know that like and I think a lot of Miami players, because Cristobal kind of sets the tone. They do as much as they possibly can to mute the outside noise, but it's impossible because they all have social media accounts, and if they're not seeing this stuff for themselves, somebody's telling them about it, right? Like Carson was well aware, and even though Kiffin is no longer coaching Ole Miss, I'm sure that week of all weeks, because it was all over my social media timeline, I'm sure people were reminding Beck of those comments. So I think that played heavily in his mind. And I know Ruben Bain doesn't ignore that stuff because he's got that crazy notebook where he keeps all the disrespect in there.
Oh,
so he probably told
so
Carson
there's a
about
notebook.
It.
Okay.
Look, man, look, a lot of stuff with Carson Beck has been pretty unfair, right? And there was this whole rap on him when he got here, and
bro, you make the money, the criticism's going to come.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it has anything to do with the money. Every quarterback at that level is getting paid. But Dono, you and I sat across from him at the ACC kickoff, and got a chance to meet him for the first time. And I don't know, I sat across from him, and I thought a lot of that stuff was BS that people were saying about him, and I thought he was just fine. And his teammates seemed to really respond to him, and I thought that touchdown run at the end of the game there, the Ole Miss game, was really just a cool moment to see that guy be able to get into the end zone there and win it for the Hurricanes in dramatic fashion. And here we are, man. Here we are 1 week away from playing for a national championship. A lot more to get to here as we continue on with the show. We had one of the best weekends of football ever in the NFL. So we do have to touch on some of those games. I want to get your guys' thoughts on some of the wild card weekend games. We got another game coming up tonight. Not that we're probably going to get to it today, but the Heat fell to the Thunder last night, and I see Barry Jackson and some of the others are like, we got to blow it up, and we got to start rebuilding and this and that. And again, today's probably not the day to get to it, but the Heat in a little bit of trouble here, although they're right in the mix in the division. A little right. What are they? One game over 500 now, Dan? Is that where the Heat sit at the moment? I think they're one game over. So anyway, we'll get to Heat stuff as we continue through the week. We got a lot of football to get to here. Wild card weekend was tremendous. The Dolphins are doing whatever it is they're doing over there. That's why we have Omar with us here this morning to shed some light on whatever the heck the Dolphins are doing. So we'll take a pause. We got a lot more to come here on QAM.
Your South Florida Chevy dealers.
live or on demand. Plus, there's the cool rewind feature where you can listen to any part of any show you might have missed. Anytime.
Doing, we just happen to have a revenue person.
Back in here on this Monday morning on WQAM. I'm Hollywood. Omar Kelly is with us from the Miami Herald. Alex Dono from the Locked On Canes podcast is with us. Dan Day and Jamie with us as well. Hey, Dono, before we get back to everything here, man, I know you have a very busy week here, and you are a very, very good source of Canes information. You are my go-to for Canes information. Where
Mine too.
Find you? Where is the podcast this week, or what do you got on deck for us here? Just promote the product if you can, my friend.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're going to be pumping out a ton of episodes this week. You can find the show at Locked On Canes on any podcast platform, Spotify, Apple. Just search Locked On Canes, and on YouTube, Locked On Canes. We've had a couple of fun episodes, even over I think we did 3 episodes over the weekend, talking some transfer portal, talking about the Indiana game with former Hurricane and 3-time national champ Kelvin Harris. The episode, Hollywood, that I got coming out later on today is going to be with Larry Bluestein, who you and I know very well. And Omar knows our boy Blue very well. He's a wealth of information, and obviously I want to talk about the matchup with Blue, but I also want to pick Blue's brain on Fernando Mendoza, because Blue probably has known Fernando since he was like middle school, because he played Miami Columbus and down in South Florida. So I want to get Blue's take on exactly what Miami is up against next week.
Hey, speaking of the which, I know we got the national championship game, but tell me what's going on in this portal. I hear Levitt's in town.
Yeah, Sam Levitt was in town. He went back to where he's been living, Arizona, to kind of finalize his decision. And this one, Omar, this is like 2026 college football encapsulated as to how this goes right now. Because I know when he was in town in Miami, there's certainly, I was getting some optimism, and still I'm not saying the optimism is dead, but you're getting some optimism out of Miami circles that he could end up being a Cane. But I know that there's still some optimism in LSU circles that even though it seemed like Lane Kiffin kind of fumbled it, because when he had Levitt for a visit last week, Lane gets distracted by shiny objects. And so when Lane had Levitt for a visit, then they found out that DeMond Williams, the Washington quarterback, was going to try to enter the portal. And then it seemed like LSU kind of pivoted from Levitt to DeMond Williams. And then Williams, ultimately decided to stay at Washington because there was a whole legal mess there with his NIL deal. So now LSU's trying to get back in for Levitt. Tennessee has also been in the mix there. So it's hard to say, Omar. Like I've felt pretty optimistic the last couple days that Miami has a shot at Sam Levitt, but it's tough when you're thinking about the type of bidding wars that could be going on right now between 2 or 3 programs. I can't give any guarantees. I haven't had any updates on the situation since yesterday afternoon, so I don't know where we're at, but I definitely would not rule out Sam Levitt being the next Miami quarterback.
So my question is, if it's not Levitt, then what do we do? Where do we go? Who do we turn to?
That's the $5 or $6.5 million question, right? I mean,
are we really at 5 or 6.5?
Well, because Hollywood earlier mentioned Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson is getting offers of up to $6.5 million to not go to the NFL draft. It's hard to imagine Miami wouldn't be one of the teams interested in trying to keep Ty Simpson in college. That's how they got their last 2 quarterbacks, right? Carson Beck had declared for the draft. Cam Ward had declared for the draft. So I think Ty Simpson is someone Miami might go after. But if it's not Simpson and it's not Levitt, I don't know. It might be someone who's on the roster right now, Omar. I mean, if Miami can't get a quarterback that they feel is like a clear upgrade, they'll probably open up the competition within the room with Emory Williams, Luke Nickel, Judd Anderson, and Darion Coleman coming in. So I don't think it's impossible that they try to let the guys who are here right now fight it out.
Let me ask you this too, though, Dono. Like, at what point do quarterbacks start to realize, like, if they don't go down that road, which I don't think they will, right? I do think Miami will land one of these transfer portal, guys, does Miami essentially become a spot where, like, if you go in there as a freshman, you have very slim chances of playing, right? Because we've seen now, Cam Ward, Carson Beck comes in, and I'll be honest, like the thing with Carson Beck that I love is that experience, man. Like, I think that has played such a huge role for the Hurricanes this year. You saw the way that he played early in the season in some of those big matchups, and you're seeing the poise that he plays with in these games now. I just don't even know why you'd want to bring in a guy that you have to go through growing pains. Like, you bring in a guy like this, and it's like, all right, you've been through everything. You've seen every sort of experience. Like, we don't have to worry about Carson. He goes into Texas A&M, and there's 100 and something thousand people at the game. You're like, oh, well, he's played in that place 30 times, and all he's done throughout his career is win, right? I mean, his winning record is incredible. I just don't know how much, Miami can, look into, like, all right, we're going to bring in a freshman quarterback, high rate, star, 5-star freshman quarterback. Our guys aren't, because of the way the landscape is, guys don't want to sit anymore.
It definitely affects your NIL strategy with players coming out of high school. I think a lot of programs now, I won't speak specifically on Miami because this is a lot of programs are now looking at it like, if we're going to break the bank for somebody, we'd probably rather do that for 21, 22-year-old than for a 17-year-old coming out of high school, right? But with that said, obviously, you have to approach every avenue possible. Like, you still want to try to recruit the best quarterbacks possible out of high school, because I still think, like, the ideal scenario is, you get somebody with, like, Julian Sayin type of talent who you can have, an order. And I know Sayin actually, he switched schools out of high school, but he wasn't a transfer for them. If you can bring up somebody, organically and develop that player, I think that's the ideal situation.
Absolutely.
So Miami's going to keep pursuing quarterbacks out of high school. But I just think the way Miami looks at the landscape is, you have the portal available to you. And if you feel like you can get something out of the portal that gives you a better chance to win than guys out of high school, you're going to pursue every avenue, right? If you have the opportunity at the ultimate high school quarterback, and I really like the guy that they're bringing in, Darion Coleman, is a true freshman. I don't necessarily think he's ready to start as a true freshman, but I think he could be a guy for a year or two down the road. So you pursue those avenues, but if you have a chance to bring in somebody better than what you have through the portal, I don't think this staff is going to shy away from that, because, guys, all of a sudden now Miami is in win now mode. And, like, the team next year, you're losing some guys to the NFL like Bain, Mesidor, CeCe Maui-Noah, but they're still expected next year to be the type of roster that can compete for a championship. And they want to have the type of quarterback that can help them compete for that championship. I don't think they're looking for any rebuilding year next year.
Hold on, but Dono, here's the thing. If you sign a freshman quarterback and you develop him, don't you want to see what the upside is? And wouldn't the upside of a developed quarterback have a much longer run than these 1-year patch jobs?
Yes, it would. But here's the thing, though, Omar, you can't guarantee that a guy's going to stay. That's the problem. Like,
that's
all right,
true.
You want to bring in a guy on some kind of 3-year contract. Okay, fantastic. But we don't have that. We don't have contracts that these guys can sign right now. Ask who is it?
You technically do. They just can't be forced.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I said, ask Wisconsin how enforceable. These
we can sign the contract. You just can't enforce it
until these guys become employees of the school and have to sign some sort of employment contracts. But then, even then, right? If a kid wants to leave or wants to get out of his deal, who wants to be the first school to sue a kid? I don't think anyone.
Didn't the University of Miami kid get sued by Wisconsin?
It's funny. They didn't sue the kid. They're trying to sue Miami.
Yeah, but
so they didn't sue the kid. Well, and that was the thing, Omar. I mentioned the quarterback from Washington that LSU was trying to get. He ended up staying with Washington. I think they might have sued him if he tried to leave in the portal. Like, he decided to stay with. I think that could have been the first lawsuit against a player, but he decided to stay there.
This is crazy, man. What it's like the Wild Wild West, but I love that. Who was it? The former LSU, Ed Ogeron basically said, "We're just we used to sneak the money in the back door. We're just taking it in through the front now." Like this is how it's been forever. And
Omar, you know what? It could be like that other team that you cover that just hands out money to everyone too. So, except they're not always handing it to the right guys. But we'll get to that in the 8 o'clock hour with Perk, who's going to join us. But look, and we had texters. It's ruining college. It's pro football now. It's pro football. It's just that it's at a slightly lower level than the NFL, although those numbers are starting to creep.
Yeah,
those numbers are starting to get there at $6.5 million a year.
Listen,
for a quarterback. Those numbers are getting up there. But
college players now, a talented college junior is making more in college than he would entering the NFL draft and being a third-round pick. So it benefits you to stay. You can make big money as a big-time college athlete, as opposed to coming into the draft, being selected by a team you have no control over, and then him having your rights for the next 4 years.
Well, look, you see it in college football. You'll see it in college basketball a lot now. Guys can make more money than they would playing pro, right? And, you look at, college basketball, especially a lot of these guys that are really good college players, they're not going to the NBA. They can go play.
Aren't guys leaving the G League and pro leagues to come to college now?
Yeah, of course, because they make more money. You can make a lot more money playing big time college basketball than you can playing professionally overseas. So why wouldn't you? I don't know how much that's going to be the case in college football here, but look, not everyone is going to be an NFL player. So you got to maximize your time while you can. Guys, are very well aware now of the cutoff where you can sit out for an injury season or red shirt. Guys are very well aware of all these things. You got to maximize those years. That's why you got a team in Indiana. Everyone's like 30 years old. So that's the system it is right now. And, people can complain about whatever it is, but Miami has done as good a job as anyone of maximizing that system. And we saw it. I guess, Dono, it really got started with the basketball, right? Remember, they signed a few of those players to those NIL deals, and it was such a big story. It was like Norchad Omier and Nigel Pack, and
that's right.
They eventually get to the Final Four. And Miami was really at the front of that NIL stuff. Remember, and people
it's
were
always been at the front of the pay for play stuff. How many times did we get in trouble with the NCAA?
No comment.
They maybe had gotten caught, but I don't think that they were the only team.
What
was it? SMU, the Pony Excess. They were the ones
Pony
that
Express,
were
yes. And come on, Alabama's been paying players for 2 decades. And we're being generous and conservative.
Yeah, when somebody hands you a McDonald's bag, a heavy one in Tuscaloosa, there's cash at the bottom of that bag.
It's actually just a school book bag full of cash. You got to make sure the school emblem's on it. I've been part of that game for a while. It was a kid, Parker, Preston Parker, down here. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that name's familiar. Yeah,
he was signed, locked up, and loaded to sign up with the Canes. Day of signing day, there just so happened to be a book bag with a school emblem on it, full of cash, and lo and behold, his mind had changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're going to see that a lot, guys. So I would get used to it here. We do have Omar Kelly here with us this morning. That's the voice you're hearing. And Chris Perkins is going to join us. So we'll get into this Dolphin stuff. I know there's a lot of people that are sitting around waiting for us to talk about the Dolphin situation. They're looking for a coach. If anybody wants the job, I guess they're holding open interviews.
Open auditions?
In Miami Gardens. If anyone is interested in taking that job, it seems, I don't want to say dysfunctional, but, it's a little bit messy over there right now.
At least they're trying to do it the right way. But dysfunction is the way I would describe
trying to do it the right way.
Yeah. They're trying. They're doing it for once. They're doing it by the books.
Tremendous.
For once, they're doing it by the books.
Awesome. Well, we'll get into that. We'll find out what that even means when Chris Perkins joins us in the 8 o'clock hour. We got another segment with Dono coming up. So Dono, get some parting thoughts from you here. I know we'll have you later in the week as well. So Dono is going to be with us throughout the week, making some stops here on the show as we get set for Miami and Indiana. It's coming up 1 week from today at Hard Rock Stadium. We'll have the broadcast for you right here on WQAM. We'll have our countdown to kickoff for you, Dono. This is what our 17th countdown to kickoff that we've done.
It's like
this
an NFL
so,
season. I've hit my wall, right? I'm used to doing 12 games, 12, 13 games now. We should be demanding raises. It's a long season.
And this is a normal NFL season in Miami. So when you get to this amount of games, so this is usually what we're used to. So it's the perfect length, right, Omar? We'll take a pause. We'll come back. Perk will join us the 8 o'clock hour. Wrap things up with Dono when we come back.
Right now, though, I'm going to tell you about a
Welcome back in here on WQAM on this Monday morning. It's a rainy Monday morning here in South Florida. I had to check the weather for the upcoming weekend. I'm planning on heading out to the beach for all the events around this college football playoff national championship here, and the weather's looking nice for the weekend. You know, my forecasts are not always accurate, so take that as you will. But
what's the weather Monday? Did you look far enough ahead for the game?
Dono, you know what, man? There's a little roof on that thing, a little canopy or whatever you call that thing. So we'll be just fine, man. I'm just happy to be there. I
think the weather would benefit. I think a little rain would benefit the Hurricanes.
I have no idea who the rain would benefit. I just know that Miami's playing in that game, and we're just as excited as we could be, man. This is really something that does not, as we very well know, does not come around very often. And, we talked about that when the Panthers are winning their championships. It's just not something that you take for granted. And
MLS, this is championship city this year.
Yes, it is. Yeah, throw the MLS team in. That's a good call, Omar. But, look, this is a football town. And you guys know how I feel about basketball. I happen to be a big basketball fan.
You are.
This is a football town, first and foremost. And this is a football town that has not experienced anything like this since very early in the 2000s, right? 2001. It is now 2026, correct? Right? Then we just over to 26. So, yeah, time flies apparently. And,
a whole generation has seen mediocre football down here in South Florida.
They are about, well, you know what? This generation is about to get a national championship game. And I don't even know what the protocol is, Dono. Maybe you know this, and we can leave you on this one. Dono's going to head off, and we're going to do some Dolphin stuff with Omar and Perk when we come back. But, Dono, if the Hurricanes should win this game, and I'm jumping out ahead here, is there a parade of sorts? Like, do college teams? I mean, I assume they do parades, right?
Of
Dan's
course.
nodding. Dan's from New Orleans. Dan's an LSU guy, so he's seen they
have parades every day. It's Mardi Gras every day of the week in New Orleans. Right. But no, there's going to be a parade. I don't know what the exact route would be, if it's going to go down like Ponce de Leon Boulevard, or if it's going to start like in Brickell and make it all the way down to campus and the gate. I haven't looked into the route yet, and it's because I'm too superstitious. If I start looking at parade routes, it's a guaranteed loss.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. And it's funny though, like if the Dolphins ever were to get to this point, which it's like, I mean, obviously it's it's very hypothetical right now because
we got a long road ahead of us.
Yes,
okay, there's no transfer portal over here.
There's no parade planning going on right now.
What would a Dolphin parade look like? I could only imagine if the Dolphins were to win a Super Bowl, what that parade would look like. That would need to be a multiple county parade, I'm guessing.
Considering they are the biggest employer that's a very good point. It would probably need to be a multiple county parade. I would think that they would take it maybe somewhere from Broward down 27th Avenue to get it to the stadium. I think you got to end it in Miami Gardens because
why don't you shut down 95 in the Golden Glades? You start it somewhere in Miami, somewhere down there on US 1. You work your US 1 all the way up 95. Then maybe you shift over to the Turnpike. At the Golden Glades, start getting some of the other parts involved.
You want twists and turns in these parades? Is that what you want? Because I
just
want my parade to be straight.
Down.
I just want my parade to be straight. No turning, no changing of directions, no getting on highways.
The good news is the Dolphins have many, many years to plan it. So we'll
they've been planning it since '74, and they still haven't been able to pay off that route.
Exactly. Speaking of the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel is Tom Pelissero's coming out with some stuff here on Mike McDaniel. We will let you know about that when we come back here with Perk is going to stop by. Dono, thank you for the time, my friend. Always appreciate you stopping by. I know we're going to have you again a few more times this week, so we're looking forward to that. And I know that you are very busy with the Locked On Canes podcast, and we'll get you on later this week. Check out Dono on the Locked On Canes podcast. And Dono, I will see you on Monday in person, my friend.
I can't wait for that. And I'll be back on this show on Wednesday and Friday this week. So I'll see you then. Omar, it's always a pleasure. And Dan Day, we party all day and night, my friend. I'll see you.
All right, Alex Dono, kind enough to join us here this morning. When we continue on, we're going to get to some of this news. There's some news that has just come out here regarding Mike McDaniel. And my gosh, man, I am shocked the amount of teams that he is interviewing with here. We'll get to all those when we come back. Chris Perkins will join us. We'll jump into this Dolphin stuff and some of those NFL wildcard games from over the weekend. What a tremendous weekend of football. So a lot of stuff to get to as we continue on here on this Monday morning on QAM.
But we sure are lucky. The bad news is getting in.
Hyundai or DoralHyundai.com. One NFL game tonight, 8:15, featuring the Steelers and Texans. The Panthers, they're at the Buffalo Sabres tonight at 7. The Dolphins linebacker Jordan Brooks has been named to the AP First Team All-Pro list, and the Dolphins are interviewing 6 head coaching candidates. They include John Harbaugh, Kevin Stefanski, Clint Kubiak, Robert Saleh, Rams defensive coordinator Chris Shula, and Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. I am Dan Day. Now back to the Joe Rose Show here on 104.3 FM WQAM.
You and me, we used to be
Back in here on WQAM, Hollywood. Omar Kelly, Dan Day along here with you. And it is time to head out to the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale at one location, Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan, toyotaofhollywood.com, where we are joined by our friend Chris Perkins from the Sun Sentinel. He's the Dolphins columnist. Perk, I say good morning to you, my friend. And I got to start with the Kane stuff, Perk. I'll let Omar get into the Dolphins stuff and whatever coaching candidates they're looking at here. But more importantly, Perk, we got a football game coming up on Monday, and I know you've been in covering sports down here forever. It feels really good to have this game here in South Florida and have the Hurricanes back on top. What have you thought about the Canes' run here?
Oh, man, I love it. I love the way that the defense makes plays with Bain and Mesidor and Scott. Carson Beck gets all of the pub, and that's going to be the same thing for Indiana. That Fernando Mendoza gets all the pub. This is 2 good defenses, 2 of the top defenses in the nation going at it. I love the storyline of the Canes playing at home, Mendoza coming back home here to play, but I'm going Canes here. Now, I'm going for the Canes. I want to see a national title come back here. And look, we will be football town USA, considering that Inter Miami won a football title, right? We can get the Canes to win a football title. So we will be football town USA after the Canes win.
And Dolphins are right around the corner, right, Perk?
Oh, yeah, you know that's coming. I'm thinking 2028 is the Dolphins year. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, 2028. I do want to get your perspective on the new GM, John Eric Sullivan, former Green Bay Packers executive, was hired by the Miami Dolphins. We're not getting a press conference because we're in the process of hiring a coach, and we're just going to do it all together, Perk, and show everybody that we're one big happy family and we're no longer dysfunctional. What were your impressions of John Eric Sullivan's hiring and selection?
I like it, because he comes from a good organization, being Green Bay, coming up through the scouting ranks and all that kind of stuff. I guess all of them did that, all of the candidates to some extent, and pretty much every GM candidate does to some extent, pretty much, unless, you're a player like John Lynch or something like that. But, I really like what they've done with this hire as far as, just somebody from a good organization. So we'll see about the rest. It's so hard to know with the GM candidates. GM is strange, because you pretty much only get one bite at the apple. It's a one and done job for whatever reason in this league. Now, there's a few people, Mike Tannenbaum did the Jets and the Dolphins, and Scott Pioli did New England and Kansas City. But it's pretty much a one and done job. And so it's hard to know about these guys for the most part when they first take over. So we'll see, but I'm on board with it at this point. Definitely.
Now, we've got a list of 6 candidates right now. Everybody knows John Harbaugh is the big fish out there. I personally do not believe that the Dolphins are in the running for the John Harbaugh sweepstakes. But then you got Kevin Stefanski, Robert Saleh, young Chris Shula, grandson of Don Shula, Clint Kubiak, the son of Gary Kubiak, and then Jeff Hafley, defensive coordinator with the Green Bay Packers. Anybody on this list, Perk, stand out to you as somebody that you absolutely must have?
Obviously, John Harbaugh. And what I wrote about John Eric Sullivan, the first thing that this place needs is an attitude adjustment throughout the entire organization. The 2023 season to me is kind of the litmus test, right? If you tell Steve Ross that was a good season, get the hell out of my office. Like we have nothing to talk about. That was a disappointing season, and that's the attitude that needs to be permeating throughout the Dolphins. 2023 was not nearly good enough. There shouldn't have been the celebrations over the number one offense and the contract extension. I want a coach and a GM who gets this organization thinking the right way. You've got to think like the Florida Panthers or the Miami Heat. Number one is all we care about. We want to win a title. Forget all this other crap. Get me a title. That's what I want the coach and the GM to bring more than anything. And I know that Harbaugh brings that. The other guys, I do like, that they have a lot of guys with defensive backgrounds that they're looking at. Now, I don't agree with you had an offensive coach last time, go for the defensive coach, or you had a disciplinarian last time, so now get a player's coach. I don't agree with that. I agree with the attitude, and I think the defensive coaches will bring the attitude that I want to see in that organization.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Perk, in terms of I need an alpha male. And if I thought back on this recently, the majority of the coaches that I know that have that alpha male persona, they're the defensive coaches. I can name you one offensive coach that had an alpha male persona that we've come across over the years. Not one. Maybe Dan Henning.
I think Adam Gase was close, but he wasn't like Flo. He wasn't like Vance Joseph.
No.
I'll tell you that.
I don't think Adam Gase was close. And here's the reason why. I actually wrote a column in the Miami Herald telling people the traits from all of Steve Ross's failed hirings, what you should get from some of them. Like, for instance, I know he didn't hire Tony Sperano, but man, that guy, his players would run through a wall for Sperano. Sperano had that machismo, gangster, mobster mentality. And remember the season where if you made a mistake in a game, you probably were getting whacked on Tuesday. Yeah. That was the whole aura of that team. It's like you got to watch your back because you could get whacked. For Mike, and I know we're going to get into this a little bit later. With your Club Mike reference, which I totally object with.
My goodness.
Mike was an offensive innovator. Mike had style. Mike's players played hard for him because he took care of them. Like if you needed 1,000 yards, Mike was going to get you 1,000 yards. That's who Mike McDaniel was. Now, was everything ideal? No. Could Mike, discipline anybody? No. But come on, Club Mike.
Yeah, Club Mike. And look, and like I said in my column, that's a Dave Hyde term. I can't take credit for it. But no more Club Mike. No, I want to see them running some wind sprints after training camp practices.
They did that. The players voluntarily did that. Look at that.
Yeah,
See, that's how Mike. That's how Mike gets in your brain. Mike makes you.
Yeah. Okay.
It makes you volunteer to do that.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Look, I always have to put this disclaimer in because of how society is now. I like Mike McDaniel. I respect Mike McDaniel. But that offensive innovation stuff, okay, that's good. You're not winning games against good teams. I don't give a damn about the jet sweep and pre-snap motion and all. Win me some games
the jumbo
against
package.
Good teams.
He beat the Buffalo Bills with the jumbo package.
Okay, so he gets one victory against Buffalo. So, I mean, look, and I'm not discrediting that. That was the best win of the year by far, but you still went, 1-6 against playoff teams this year, 5-22 against playoff teams in 4 seasons. All of that stuff is just eye candy. Get me some victories, and it starts with a change of attitude. Club Mike must be shut down. No more Disneyland. This is a football.
You got to bring up the Disneyland visit? Hold on, wait a minute. You got to bring up the Disneyland visit? You are hitting low right now, Perk. Yes, Mike McDaniel was at Disneyland this week. wearing a
I
Gucci
like
outfit.
the picture he took on the carousel, the coaching carousel. I thought that was very funny.
I mean, I just got fired. My kid's probably a little depressed. I'm taking her to Disneyland. Daddy just got fired. Let's go to Disneyland. Kind of makes everything better.
He's very rich now, by the way, because they had to pay him a lot of money to go away.
He's always been rich.
He can afford that VIP experience at Disney just fine.
And Mike McDaniel's wardrobe every day was about $8,000. Trust me.
Exactly.
Mike's always got money. And that Gucci outfit he had on, whoo, that thing was fire. I'm not even going to deny that.
You know what? That's not my style, but I don't mind that being Mike's style. Just get me some victories against good teams. Get me some playoff wins. I don't care if he shops wherever. It's about winning. It's not about the outfit and being a player's friend and all that kind of stuff. That locker room was so chill.
Player's friend. You really went there, player's friend. Like, come on, Perk.
So, but here's the question then, Perk. If all these things are true about Mike, why are all these teams seemingly lining up to interview him? Apparently, he's going to interview this week for the Browns, Falcons, Titans, and Ravens jobs. And he's also got a Lions interview for OC. Like, all these teams are lining up to interview this guy, which I'm with you, Perk. I think that there was more than just an X's and O's. This was a culture issue that you were dealing with down here. Does this just all of a sudden go away? Like, all these teams are interviewing him. I don't get it.
Hollywood, I think that the thought out there is Mike McDaniel is going to be a better coach his second time around than he was his first time, because he's going to learn, because this stuff should be obvious to Mike now. And when you were here, I think it was an environment where people weren't really comfortable speaking up and saying, hey, Mike, this is not working. He lost his job because it didn't work. That should be clear to him. So I think that the thinking around the league is Mike has made a mistake or two. He will get that corrected. He will be aware of it. He will be a better coach. Because if Mike gets the culture stuff cleared up, he is a good coach. He's a better coach. I guess you could say he's a good coach. I still need to see him beat some playoff teams, but he's a better coach. So I don't have a big problem with teams interviewing him, because you would think he's going to correct whatever got him fired here in Miami.
Man, listen, Perk, the thought that Mike can get tough on players, I know that's a little bit unrealistic, but I object to the club, Mike. They worked hard. They fought for Mike. They rallied back. I would argue to you, Mike, I know you have feelings about Brian Flores and how Brian Flores did more with less, but I'd argue to you, Mike shouldn't have any shame about what he did and what he accomplished here.
Ooh, boy, come on. Oh, you were a 500 coach. So here's what you're telling me. To get to 500 in this organization, you need Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, Armstead, Calais Campbell, Rob Hunt, Christian Wilkins, Zach Sealer, Jalen Ramsey, Vic Fangio. You need all of that.
A lot of those guys were hurt.
That's what you're telling me.
A lot of those guys were hurt.
I don't want to hear all that mess.
A lot of those guys were hurt.
They weren't hurt early in the season. They weren't hurt again for that 48-20 Buffalo loss, were they? No. Yeah, they weren't hurt for the Kansas City loss in 2023. They weren't hurt for the Philly loss in 2023. The regular season losses. They were hurt for Baltimore, but by then it was over. Well, it wasn't over.
You keep bringing up old stuff, Perk. You keep bringing up old stuff.
Okay.
Listen, they beat Buffalo.
Game this year.
They beat Buffalo 30-13. Listen, Pittsburgh, the quarterback's arm fell apart. What you want him to do? He finally benched him. What did you want him to
develop
do?
a better backup quarterback? That's another thing. He never developed a good backup quarterback. You have Skylar Thompson here for 3 years. He goes in against Cincinnati, and he's a train wreck. Like, what were you doing with this guy? You never developed a backup quarterback. You get Zach Wilson as a direct calculated target. He's so bad, the 7th round rookie takes over for him. Come on. Let's get real about the results here. Again, I'm not trying to trash Mike. This is a results-based business, and he didn't deliver the results. The talent was always better than the result of this team.
Perk, you can trash anyone you want, by the way. They deserve it over there.
I honestly don't want to trash Mike. I genuinely like and respect Mike. He just didn't do the job.
I think
Yeah,
everyone.
I do.
Mike.
I do.
I don't think he was. I don't think anyone would tell you that Mike was a bad guy, that they didn't like him. I'm with you that it's a results oriented business. And at that, Perk, I will leave you on this one. Who do you think ends up eventually getting this job here with the Dolphins? And would the next order of business be finding a way to send Tua very far out of this town?
I wouldn't put it like that, Hollywood, but yeah, that's going to be a.
He's going to be really far, like no Tampa, no Jackson. Like it's got to be like no Atlanta. Like he's got to be really far away.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
a lot of my life fighting with people over Tua. I'm done, Perk.
You want to swap him for Geno Smith?
I don't care where he goes as long as it's
Kyler Murray
here.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't think they're going to get Harbaugh. Maybe they get Halfley. Maybe if LaFleur shakes free, they get him. Maybe they follow the Green Bay tree, right, with John Eric Sullivan. I'm kind of like Omar. I don't really have a choice. If it's not Harbaugh, just get the guy who's going to bring the right attitude. Robert Saleh brings some attitude with him, right? We saw him get into it with Liam Cohen after that Jacksonville game. Just get a guy who's going to bring the attitude. That is so important to me, that you get the attitude right, and then the talent and all the rest of that stuff will fall in place, and it will max out.
Perk, we appreciate the time. Thank you. I don't know how much we got accomplished here, but thank you very much. And we'll talk to you, all right?
Omar, there's not a lot accomplished, but we have fun doing it. So yeah.
Round 3, baby. Round 4 coming next.
All right, let's do it. All right, guys, we'll talk later.
All right, that was Chris Perkins from the Sun Sentinel. Omar Kelly from the Miami Herald is with us. This Dolphin stuff, man, it just feels like it's not even the time to talk about it, because the Canes are getting ready to play for a national championship. But we got to do it. The NFL had a big wild card weekend as well. We didn't get a chance to get to that with Perk, but Omar, we can discuss some of those games and some of your takeaways from those when we come back. So a lot more to come here on WQAM.
Your South Florida Chevy dealers, man. Chevy has been making
ways to listen to us.
Okay, I'd like to hear them then.
On FM 104.3 or on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Same great shows, same great games. Plus, you can use the rewind feature and listen to anything you missed. Go for it.
Literally amazing. And they just recently
Welcome back in here on a Monday morning on WQAM. I am Hollywood. Omar Kelly is with us. Dan Day is with us here as well as we continue on here. A lot of stuff going on here in our little world of sports. The Miami Hurricanes getting set to play for a national championship 1 week from today. Thank you to Perk who just joined the show. We had a lot of Dolphin stuff, obviously, with the team hiring a general manager and searching for a coach to try to correct the mess that is the Miami Dolphins. You got NFL Wildcard weekend delivered, about as good a weekend of football as you will ever see. And I just want to get your guys' takes on some of these games because we have not. We had Alex Donna with us the first hour of the show, and Donna will be back with us Wednesday and Friday this week. So we got a lot of Kane stuff that we are going to do, of course, as we continue through the week. But I do want to get your guys' take, Dan and Omar, on these games that we saw over the weekend. And boy, did it start off with a thriller there between the Panthers and the Rams, and a game that probably a lot closer than many people thought it would end up being. The Rams end up winning that one 34-31. Panthers, they got awfully close to pulling off the upset there. The Rams get the late touchdown there with 32 seconds left. Stafford throws a 19-yard touchdown pass, and the Rams end up winning that one. That's a tough place. That's a tough trip for a team like the Rams to go across the country and play that Panther team. And I'll be honest, I didn't think Bryce Young was going to be this good, Omar. He has been very impressive. That Panthers franchise seemingly has turned the corner a little bit here.
Definitely. You saw them start to turn the corner against the Miami Dolphins. They established a run game. They were physical. Bryce Young made some key throws in the third quarter. I'm not a huge Bryce Young fan, but as a young man got it done and got close to a playoff win. That was a 14-point each shootout in the fourth quarter, as was the Buffalo Bills-Jacksonville Jaguars game. Man, if there was ever an opportunity and a window for Josh Allen to win a championship, this is it. The Eagles have been knocked out. The Chiefs aren't in the playoffs. The deck has been cleared for you. Obviously, I think tonight's game, Titans against Steelers, is going to be probably my favorite. What do you say? Texans, yes. Texans against Steelers is going to be my favorite game to watch because I'm rooting for the Steelers. But man, I would say the Texans and that defense, they're probably my front runners to take it to the Super Bowl.
Dan, I'm curious your thoughts on that Carolina thing. You were shaking your head a little bit there. You're not buying it.
Talking about turning the corner, a team that backed their way into the playoffs in the worst division of all of football and found a way to lose to a team that should have already lost. No, Carolina has not turned the corner. They don't have an answer at quarterback. They don't have really even a good team other than Rico Dowdle. So yeah, they're an NFL
He's leaving
team.
too. He's leaving.
Yeah, they can hang for a little bit, but to say they've turned the corner, I saw them lose a crap game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the rain that no one wanted to win. No, that team has not turned the corner. No team in the NFC South should even be in the playoffs, much less turn a corner. So I'm going to disagree.
So hold on. You're a big believer that those teams in the NFC South shouldn't be in. And also, do you believe that they should host the game? Because I know that's going to be really discussed for the second time at the NFL owners meetings this year. It was discussed last year. They left it status quo because they felt like you should benefit from winning your conference. But now we've seen it another year where an 8-9 team gets in and hosts a playoff game.
I'm fine with the rules being the rules, but as far as talent-wise, they weren't talented enough to be in the playoffs. That's what I meant when I said that. I'm fine with the rules. I'm fine with them hosting a game. That's okay. But what I'm saying is I don't believe the Carolina Panthers have turned any type of corner. And if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, you shouldn't be taking a deep breath saying, successful season. Can't wait for the next one. You should be a little bit worried. You don't have a quarterback. You don't have a really good team. You backed into the playoffs. It was absolute garbage. And they're a pro team, so they put up the best effort against the Rams. But there was no doubt the Rams were going to find a way to win that game because good teams find ways to win. Bad teams like the Carolina Panthers find ways to lose.
You sound like a salty Saints.
Omar, this is where we tell people that Dan is from New Orleans.
Yeah. I'm like, you sound like a salty Saints fan.
He
like,
does.
Yeah.
This is where we need to preface this with Dan is from New Orleans. Okay, Dan?
Yeah, and I'll also give you background that I am a Saints fan, but I agree. The Saints weren't even as good as the Panthers, nor were they as good as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year, too. So they didn't deserve to be in the playoffs either. So I'll say that. But at least they got a quarterback situation that's kind of, taken care of.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. You don't like Tyler Shuck?
Nah.
You're going to stand with Tua Tagovailoa. Go ahead, Omar.
No, I didn't. Now. Why we got to bring up Tua's name? I didn't say anything about Tua's name.
He's bringing up Tua's name because he's saying that your thoughts on quarterbacks, at least for this calendar year, are not acceptable.
This calendar year, 2026, I have not said anything about
over, man.
Tiny, small.
So on Tua that thing rolls over to another year. I'm sorry.
Listen, you said statistically he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. You defended him over and over again.
He is. I think he's probably second all time in pass, second or third all time.
By the way, this is exactly why Tua needs to go. He needs to get sent somewhere very, very far away. Like whatever. What's the furthest team? Seattle. Like, can he play in Seattle? I mean, is there or in Canada? Then maybe in the Canadian Football League. Like, just anywhere that we don't have to talk about it anymore because I can't handle the Tua like back and forth. And is he good? Is he not?
There is no more Tua back.
I don't want to hear it anymore.
Listen, the bottom line is. He lost his arm. He lost his velocity. It happens. Well, not really. It doesn't happen. Yeah, it doesn't happen. But it happened to Chad Pennington. It does happen.
Yeah, at some point in your career, it happened to Peyton Manning too. 20 years down the road.
Yeah, it does. Oh wow. Yeah, it does happen. 7 years in, okay, that's a little early, but it does happen. All right.
Yeah, Tom Brady's in his mid 40 still playing like it. It happens. It's
Aaron Rodgers tonight. You're gonna watch his arm.
Did you see Tom Brady?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers in his mid 40s.
Did you see Tom Brady showing you the video of how you throw in the wind and inclement weather and the changing?
I was wondering where that was. Where was that before our games? They don't have anyone that can help our guy with that.
I was like, I learned so much. I'm not even gonna deny that was like mind blowing stuff for me. How you change it from the U to the C. I watched that. I was like, holy crap! This is a science. Why didn't anybody tell Tua this?
Well, we're gonna move on from Tua respectfully. And
I'm not piling on to it. It's just
I know.
This is just where we are, folks.
And we had a bunch of other games that we are going to get to at some point here. I do want to let you know, somebody texted this in, said that they were listening on delay on the Odyssey app in Texas. Locked on Canes Insider. Dono appreciates that. Said in reference to Omar's question at the start of the show, season ticket holder for the Canes. This is his first season, not a special club donor. I have 2 seats to the championship lower bowl, $872 each.
How did you get it?
I'm guessing he got offered the tickets through the whatever the school thing is, and
I got
a chance to buy them. I know people are getting chances to buy tickets.
Okay, all right, that's
like
good.
There are tickets available. This isn't like
I think there should be some hierarchy, like your years as a season because there were some lean years. If you were a season ticket holder in the Al Golden era, you deserve tickets. Like that was.
I'm with you.
If you've been a season ticket holder since Al Golden, hell, let's go back to Randy Shannon. You deserve tickets. You've been holding on strong for what is it? Nearly 2 decades. You deserve tickets.
I'm guessing that a lot of the Canes fans that want to buy tickets will have their shot. But again, I don't know exactly how this works. Some of the people have donated money to UM over the years are getting ticket offers at base price, face value there. Yeah, I would assume that's how it goes here.
I need to know these answers. I really do need to know.
You're not going regardless. So
if I wanted to go, I could go.
No, we're keeping you away. Respectfully.
Wait a minute. I do want to party, so I'm gonna find.
Yeah, that's what the after party's for.
I need to
We'll be
find
there.
Luke's party. Luke, holla at me. Let me know where the party situation is. If we're doing it at Tootsie's, where are we doing it, Luke? Let's
I saw
coordinate.
Luke even posted on Twitter yesterday that he doesn't have tickets for anyone, not to ask him.
Oh, damn, Luke might go. So damn, he's not throwing a
Of
party.
course he's gonna go. I would think he would go, right?
He didn't go to any of the earlier rounds. He didn't go to the Fiesta. He didn't go to the
Well, those
Cotton
games are
Bowl.
not exactly around the corner, Omar. I didn't go either, but
A lot of the alums did. A lot of the ones that care.
The thing about those trips that's funny is like the tickets for like the last game were like $50 at most.
Absolutely.
You can walk into that game pretty cheap there. That will not be the case for this game. They're saying it's the most expensive national championship game ever. And no, to answer the question, Harold does not have any tickets. So that I know for sure.
Who?
Joe.
Oh, Joe.
His middle name is Harold, so some of the people call him Harold now because he doesn't like it. And you know how it goes when you find out someone doesn't like something on this show. We usually tend to
lean in.
So we do. So
I was like, who's Harold?
Called Harold. Speaking of Harold will join us on the show the rest of the days this week. We're giving him a breather here today because we had Donna with us and we got Omar here, so we got a lot of voices. So we'll get to Joe tomorrow. We want to touch on some more of these games here. We got a bunch of Dolphins news coming in. This Mike McDaniel stuff is wild. I mean, it is truly wild. Tom Pelissero had a list of teams that Mike McDaniel is interviewing with. It came out about 20 minutes ago. So if you haven't seen that yet, we'll let you know what that is, what teams that he is going to be interviewing with. And of course, we do have a big football game coming up 1 week from today at Hard Rock Stadium. So we'll take a pause. More to come on QAM.
Want to take a moment to tell you about Recovery Unplugged.
left you without a dope beat. Step 2, step 2, step 2, then step 2, then step 2, then step 2. Think it. It's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you without a dope beat.
Welcome back in here on WQAM. Hollywood, Omar Kelly, Dan Day with you. This chat thing that we have on our YouTube, this thing is a mess. Are you watching this thing?
I am not tired, people. I did go to bed at 3:30 in the morning, but that was a choice.
That is a choice. Omar, you're doing all right. Everyone's fine. Yes,
I haven't fallen asleep on this. I haven't fallen asleep today.
Good morning, Mike, by the way. I hope your day gets a little better than it is right now, my friend. That's all I want to say to Mike. Anyway, speaking of Mikes, Mike McDaniel is going to be interviewing with everyone here, Omar.
Everyone? There are 8 jobs. Come on, not everyone.
To be quite honest, I'm shocked. And I figured that he would be a hot candidate for an OC. And he is interviewing with the Lions for their OC job. But listen to this. According to
Washington wants them for their OC job. Tampa wants them for the OC job. Mike wasn't trash. And
he's not trash. But with that being said, so first of all, Tom Pelissero says he's going to be interviewing this week for the Browns, Falcons, Titans, and Ravens head coaching jobs.
That is correct.
So presumably you would think he's probably going to get another one of these jobs, right?
No,
I mean, if all those teams are willing to interview him, he's at least a very hot candidate. Can we at least agree on that?
Hot candidate. I would say he's got a strong chance with the Falcons because their quarterback Matt Ryan actually played for him when he went in his greatest run when he was an MVP. Yes, Mike didn't coach the offense, but everybody knows what Mike did and what Mike's role is. Mike is an innovator. Mike is a creator. You see a lot of the things you saw in the playoffs. Some of these 3 offensive linemen, some of these 3 tight end packages. Those are things that Mike built off and his frat brothers have taken or borrowed.
First of all, just to let people know too, LaFleur is off the table. That's he's going to get an extension. It looks like with the Packers, so that's off the table. But with Mike, I don't think anyone here is like questioning his X's and O's. Like I think clearly he is a good offensive mind. I don't think anyone's questioning that.
He can put together a good staff too.
But to me, it was more of the fact that like you came in with this, I'm going to be the players' coach and I'm going to let them run the ship, and he's
never going to change that either.
Well, but you have to though, because it clearly didn't.
It didn't work here, and it didn't work here because your quarterback.
Why didn't it work here and it would work somewhere else? I think it was a culture problem. You had guys showing up late. You had guys that just seemingly didn't have enough respect for the way that he was letting them. I just think that players kind of trapped all over him.
No, that's not true. That's not fair. That's not accurate. There were some late issues last year. Late tardiness wasn't a problem this year. You had to, and that came from a lot of the leadership. The thing about Mike is, and here, please understand where I'm coming from. I have covered so many coaches, from Cam Cameron to Tony Sperano to Joe Philbin to Adam Gase to Brian Flores to Mike McDaniel. I've been here for it all, and I've seen it all. And the one thing that I kind of realize, and I hope that Steve Ross realizes in this search, because this is going to be, I believe, Steve Ross's 5th head coach. 5 head coaches, that's a lot of head coaches. You need an alpha male. And the one thing Mike wasn't, and he was a lot of other things. He was a lot of other things that were very good, and I do believe in the player empowerment. It certainly benefits you in this NIL culture of professional sports, because these players are becoming even more entitled than they were 10 years ago.
But you got to split the difference, man. Like, look at Vrabel in New England. You got to split. You have to split the difference. Like, I get that Mike is trying to be the guy.
You can't be who you're not. You can't be who you're not, and Mike is not a tough guy.
Maybe he's better off as an offensive coordinator. All right. Anyway, we have to take a pause here, Omar. We got the 9 o'clock hour coming up here around the corner. So save whatever you got left on this Dolphins search. We may get a name here very soon. Here we may get a name in the next day or so.
You'll have a head coach by the end of the week.
Yeah. So
they're moving fast.
Yep. And by the end of the week, we'll really be locked in on this Hurricanes game. They're going to play on Monday at Hard Rock Stadium for the national.
Actually, they might actually wait till after the Hurricanes are done because they don't like.
Well, they fired Mike on the day of the last game, so I don't think the Dolphins.
You want to sneak a firing under the radar. You try to sneak a firing.
We got the 9 o'clock hour. It's coming up next on QAM.
Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Check it out now, the Funk Soul Brother. Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Check it out now.
Welcome back in here on WQAM on this Monday morning, a rainy Monday morning here in South Florida. The rare rainy day here in what are we in January?
Let's get it out of our system.
Here, Omar Kelly. It is. This has been like the craziest sports run. We got Canes football playing on Monday in the national championship game. I got to give a shout out this morning, by the way, to Canes Hoops, who won again over the weekend. They are 3-0 in ACC play. Jay Lucas has that thing absolutely rolling. We'll try to get Coach on with us later this week. I got to tell you, I imagine that the success of the football team is just going to trickle down to the rest of the university and the rest of the athletics programs over there. So,
nope, they should keep all their $20 million. Nope, don't share a cent of it with anybody.
No, well, they don't have to share that with anyone, especially in the ACC. They don't have to share any of that money, apparently. So it's all good for the University of Miami right now. And there's going to be a lot of events down here this weekend for the College Football Playoff National Championship, and it just becomes even more exciting because we're involved in it.
Mm-hmm. So I just need to find a good party, man. I just need to find a good party for Monday night.
Our parties are different, though, man. Our parties are a little different, I guess, these days, Omar. You were out late. You were getting after it out there. So there's a concert on the beach that I'm probably going to go to. I know it's not exactly your type of music, but I might head out there for
what's
for
the talent going to be looking like?
The talent for the show is Calvin Harris and John Summit. And I know what you meant. I know what you meant. It's a kids show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I know. I do know what you meant there. We got that going on. We got Wildcard weekend. Omar, these games, man, oh man, I've been just glued to the TV all weekend long because every game was really exciting. The game last night, maybe not the best. The Chargers got beat up by the Patriots last night as New England moves on, and that story. You know, I know that story sucks for our market, but it is kind of a good story if you took a step back, I suppose. But those games over the weekend, Omar, they delivered in a big way. I think maybe my favorite was that game in Chicago, and that come from behind win by the Bears, who just seemingly threw it to everyone. They come back, and that guy Caleb Williams.
Yeah. We had him written down as a bust last year.
Yeah, he got a lot of crap. They had him. They were ready to write his ass off, and boy, did he come and have a big season, and he had a huge game. That throw that he made where he's fallen down and chucks it downfield, it just very, very impressive, the physical
Puts
talent.
A little curveball on it. Props to Ben Johnson, who we actually had here as an offensive coach under the Joe Philbin era. Props to him because he became hot commodity last year. Everybody wanted Ben Johnson from what he did with the Lions. And he did what I believe that John Harbaugh is going to do, which is he's going to select his next program based on who the quarterback is. And Ben Johnson believed in Caleb Williams. He believed that he can do the Mike McDaniel Tua Tagovailoa program, clean up his game, polish him up. Get him presentable to the world. The only difference is Caleb did it on the biggest stage in the biggest moments, and they are the top fourth quarter team in the NFL this year. How many games did they have where fourth quarter comebacks or come from behind? And they showed you exactly who they were in that Green Bay game. I thought no chance in hell they were going to win that game. And they pulled it out. They kept making throw after throw after throw, and they absolutely pulled it out.
So my follow-up question to you, Omar, would then be, why wouldn't the Dolphins call Harbaugh and say, look, first off, we'll pay you whatever you want.
That's a given.
Pay you more than whatever anyone else is offering you. That's one.
I mean, that's why you want the Dolphins in the conversation. But
you said that he wants to know who is, he wants the best quarterback situation. Well, why don't we tell him this? Say, hey, you got this pick in the draft. You got, whatever you want to do in free agency, and you figure it out. And, you can work with the GM, but you'll get final say, all that good stuff. Why wouldn't you hand the keys to the kingdom over to him? Because another, like Texter and all these, everyone's right. Like, why would you go with another coordinator? Why do you need the next hot coordinator? How many times are you going to do this with the next hot coordinator? You seem
But that's
every
Steve
single
Ross's
time.
thing, and he showed you that with John Eric Sullivan. He wants the young up and comers. He's told me this in his own words, not even source information. I like to hire the young up and comer because they work harder and they're more loyal to me. And I'm like, this man runs billion-dollar enterprises, and this is what he hires in all of his businesses. Who the hell am I to question? Now, has it worked out for the Dolphins? Absolutely not. But it's worked out for other teams. Him, not so much. But worked out for the Jaguars. Worked out for the Bears. Who else has it worked out for?
Well, it's worked out for a lot of teams. But Dan, I see you shaking your head in there too. And I mean, are you kind of? I would, if you could get Harbaugh here. I mean, for me, I would do whatever it took. You know, you want.
I don't think you can.
Decisions, money, whatever it is.
I don't think you can.
That's who I would go with. I'm curious what you think. You want the next up and coming coordinator, or you want an established coach?
Oh, absolutely not. But with what Omar said was what I was shaking my head about is he likes young up and comers because they work harder and they're loyal to him and they listen to him. John Harbaugh is not coming in here to listen to anybody or to take orders. He is coming in to change things and give orders, which is probably best for this organization. So to your point, Danny, I agree. John Harbaugh would be the best hire for this organization. But to say we'll pay you more than anybody, we'll give you all the power, we're probably not the only people at the table saying
that's a given. Everybody's
right.
doing that. Miami's at the table. The price just went up. So Harbaugh already has you at the table. Everybody knows the price is up. He doesn't need you anymore. He doesn't even need to meet with you. The fact that you want to meet with him, the price has already gone up. All power, everybody's going to give him that. Who is not going to give him all power?
I just think the Dolphins need to hire someone that has head coaching experience.
I don't disagree with you.
I'm not.
But are you going the Robert Saleh route because you want head coaching experience? Are you going the Kevin Stefanski route?
Stefanski's in there. Like, I just want somebody. So to me, the biggest issue that the Dolphins franchise has is the culture problem. That to me is the biggest issue. This is not like an X's and O's thing, and the team's going to be bad regardless next year. Like there's not some patch out there that's going to all right, let's just do this and this and this, and we're going to be a playoff team. This is a rebuild. It's a full on rebuild.
But it's always a rebuild
in that building. That like at least the players that are there are going to respect enough.
It's always a rebuild. It's always a rebuild. You made it to the playoffs in Tony Sparano's first year. That was a rebuild. You made it to the playoffs in Adam Gase's first year. That was a rebuild. You made it to the playoffs in Mike McDaniel's first year. It wasn't really a rebuild, but it was a retooling, a shift of directions. I mean, I'm not going to say this is going to be a good team because they got a lot of issues that they need to address and they need to fix, and there's a lot going on over here, and you absolutely need a culture change. But I'm telling you right now, John Harbaugh isn't the one that's going to do it. He don't want to come here and work that hard. Let's be real about it.
Oh, stop.
No, I'm being serious with you.
But you don't know that. You're just saying that. Like you don't know that.
I know that.
I know that. Here and take this job. Maybe he does.
I know that.
I don't know. But what I would do if I were the Dolphins is I would find a coach that has experience, like a texter said on a YouTube chat here.
Name
find
him.
someone who's won a playoff game. Find someone who knows what it looks like to win a playoff game before you bring them in here.
True. Okay. So you want Kevin Stefanski then?
Whatever it is, Omar, find someone who has won a playoff game.
McCarthy.
I would go the Harbaugh route. That would be my first choice.
It's not a choice. I'm telling you to take it off the table. It's not a choice. You take it off the table.
Watch tomorrow morning. We come in and they're finalizing the deal. We're gonna get the tweet today that they're finalizing the deal.
I promise you, it's not a choice. Take it off the table. It's
all right.
Take it. Remove it from the table. You're
I'm not
being
gonna
used like
remove it from the
you're
table,
being
but I'll
used
push
like
it
you
to the back.
always are, but it's not an option.
I'll push it to the back of the table. All right, Omar. We got to take a pause here. If you missed Chris Perkins with us earlier, we'll run that back for you at the end of the show here today. Perk had a lot of good stuff about Mike McDaniel and these coaching openings here, and
as he calls it, Club Mike.
Yeah, and who he thinks should be the next Dolphins head coach. So we'll take a pause. We have more to come here than the 9 o'clock hour on QAM.
I do want to tell you about Michael Kotich.
anytime.
She said she too young, don't want no man. So she gon' call her friends, that's a plan.
Hello, Omar Kelly, Dan Day, Jamie with you on this Monday morning. 1 week away from the Miami Hurricanes playing for a national championship. They're going to take on the Indiana Hoosiers at Hard Rock Stadium. We'll have a lot of stuff around that game coming up here this week. Alex Dono, if you missed it, joined us for the first few hours of the show this morning. Of course, the host on the of the Locked On Canes podcast, and he also does the post game here. We'll have a pregame show. Monroe's going to be back with me for the pregame show for the championship game here. Nowhere left for him to travel.
Man, your Kerbin is partying.
I know, but nowhere left for him to travel, man. This is we're back home.
I guess he could do the pregame show and then go do some tailgating, right?
He always does. So he'll figure that out. But yeah, we got a game 1 week from today. We got a bunch of events coming up this weekend around the game. So it's a good time to be a football fan here in South Florida. Perhaps the Dolphins will nail this hire. Who knows? Omar, we'll play the waiting game here the next few days. You think we should have an answer here? And if you were betting today, Omar, let's say you're going on one of those apps that lets you put like a futures contract out there, who would you bet on today that the Dolphins hire for their head coaching vacancy?
I would bet on Kevin Stefanski.
Really?
I don't think he's going to get the Atlanta game. I think John Harbaugh is going to take the Giants job. I don't think that he's going to get the Atlanta job. I'm not sure who's going to get the Atlanta job, but that could complicate things. What's complicating things for the Miami Dolphins are they don't have a top 3 attractive job. There's just so many variables that makes this an unattractive job. I mean, I think Tennessee is probably the best job out there because it comes with a quarterback, but then they've got some ownership questions, concerns, some leadership questions, concerns. But they got a quarterback, and that's half the battle. And also, I do want to say we could be getting another big dog entering this coaching fray based on what happens tonight in terms of Mike Tomlin. I don't know if he will be traded. If he wins the game, Tomlin. I think no matter what, Tomlin will not be fired. But I think if a team is willing and wants to acquire him for a draft pick, that opportunity will become available to them. But
sounds like you have interest. Is what I'm getting from you. It sounds like you have interest.
I have interest. I just don't think Mike Tomlin will have interest in this situation. There's some stuff here that the Dolphins got to fix and clean up before they can, be a big dog barking around trying to demand. It takes more than offering the coach a ridiculous salary. That might work for free agents, but coaches know that they don't get that many opportunities, and it's not like they could just hop on and go coach. Look at Doug Peterson. You went from a championship coach to things falling apart in Jacksonville, and now nobody will touch him.
Well, it's funny. Like we get back-to-back texts here. If Tomlin is available, bleep Harbaugh, and then another one that says Mike Tomlin hasn't won anything since 2010. So everyone is all over the map on this one. I'm guessing, Omar. Like if I was a betting man, I'm guessing they go with one of these coordinators, one of these new blood type of
Chris Shula. I mean, yeah, I was overdosed by how much Fox was showing me Chris Shula. I was overdosed. It was. I'm sorry. They showed me Chris Shula more than they showed the head coach of the Rams.
Yeah.
And no offense, he's a Shula. I get it. But come on, let's not pretend like that's going to fix our situation. How many Shulas have been coaching and have been flops out there outside of Don? No disrespect to anyone intended.
No, I'm sure no disrespect taken. Someone says Gruden is not involved. I don't think Gruden has any shot of getting anything.
Gruden's still being blackballed by the league. Nobody's even taken a sniff, which means the league has said no. which that you guys don't realize that there are directives that come from the league. Lamar, when they got caught Tampa, remember when Lamar was a free agent and nobody wanted to touch him, and then the league did the Players Association did an investigation and acknowledged that the league tampered, and they were like, "We tampered. What you gonna do about it?"
Belichick would be funny. JB puts Belichick up on the screen.
Belichick's being blackballed too.
Belichick's struggling over there in North Carolina, man.
Yeah.
I think he's finding out the college game is not as easy as perhaps he had hoped.
The coaching game without Tom Brady is not as easy as he'd hoped.
No. But the college thing, I'm guessing he thought he was going to go in there and throw some money at that thing and bring some of his fancy name guys around him and just snap his fingers and be all good.
Become the next Nick Saban. I think he can do that. He can build a factory of coaches, and if you build a factory of coaches like Nick Saban did, look every coach that was in the semifinals was a Nick Saban disciple. So it can be done. Don't think just and they are paying big in North Carolina.
Someone brought up Marcus Freeman on there. I saw Marcus Freeman got in a fight with like a wrestling coach or something over the weekend. Did you see that article that popped up?
I did see that article. He was defending his kids, and and the wrestling coach felt intimidated.
Yeah,
like if you're a wrestling coach, I wrestled.
I know.
If you're a wrestling coach, you should be able to beat anybody's. You know what? Like
you would think.
Yeah.
You would think. All right. Speaking of beating behinds, we're going to go. Well, we'll talk to Perk and let you and Perk battle this thing out here and see if we can't figure out who the next Dolphins head coach is going to be. We will talk to Chris Perkins from the Sun Sentinel when we come back here on QAM.
I do want to take a second this morning to tell you about Atlanta